Right now, I'm in a very different journey, and kind of while I started with microfinance, and I see in the rural areas, large number of customers' livelihoods are around agriculture and dairy. That's the kind of lots of rural folks. That's how they earn their livelihood. So I felt microfinance has its own limitations, which is, it's largely a small money reaching to every household and getting repaid. And that platform has its own limitations, and you can't use that for anything else because there's no homogeneity of that customer base beyond they all come from the same street and they know each other. But for businesses to flourish and to scale, there needs to be a business homogeneity network, and that gives the benefit of aggregation, and it actually anchors the business. So I felt the Indian agriculture farmers or dairy farmers not only requires capital, they need growth capital, they need timely capital, they need an access to market. So that was the whole reason with which we started KiVi. KiVi actually stands for Kisan Vikas, KIVI, the way the company is formulated. Our aim is to kind of really see that an agricultural farmer who's got 2-3 acres of land, how that ecosystem can be digitized, because he is connected with a fertilizer shop for buying his seed, fertilizer, pesticide. He's connected with a commodity aggregator to sell his produce. He's connected with a number of local entrepreneurs for mechanizations help. He needs a tractor, he needs a harvester. Right now, there's a lot of usage of even drone for spraying this thing. So, because India is largely a smallholder farmer country, not every farmer need to buy this. So, there are entrepreneurs who buy this and lease it out. So, between them, there is a lot of transactions happens, and these were all not in a form that the transaction history was not available. Transaction records are not available for anybody to kind of really take a bet on that. And so our effort is to kind of really energize that ecosystem. Secondly, there are lots of new tech capabilities that we can use to drive a lot of capital to that sector. So I'll talk about one or two things that has happened in the last 3-4 years. India has been on a massive effort to digitize the land records in the country. And there was a lot of data about the farmers in the government, but they were all stored in silos. That data was not really helping anybody, right? And so therefore, there has been efforts to kind of really use those data for the public good, and especially for the the farmers' benefit. So there has been efforts to kind of almost in line with UPI, which has become kind of very very scalable, and India's kind of stamp on technology is on UPI. There is something called ULI, that is the Unified Lending Interface, where the digital land records are available through an API. So through a single API, you get access to the nation's every farmer's digital land records. So that was very useful when we started using this. Gave a very different confidence to bankers. Right till now, there was no way to kind of say when somebody say I'm a 3-acre farmer, there's no way to verify it. I mean, if at all somebody want to verify, that was very very cumbersome activity of going through a lots of paper documents of land documents, and that kind of capability is not there at a small lender level. The field force that you use can't really, this is a lawyer's job to kind of really see these kind of things, are you are the actual owner and things like that. And also it's so massive and this has kind of really nailed that. And we have been one of the early users of the digital land records to kind of really use for lending. One another technology that I'm very, very optimistically looking at right now, the costs are slightly high, but then I'm very, kind of really looking at opportunities are the digital, the satellite image processing, kind of technology companies. There are lots of, the Sentinel data is available there at free of cost, but then how to kind of use those pictures to kind of through analytical model to kind of see, suppose if I'm talking about a farmer in Tanjavur, and if I have verified him through his Aadhaar number and bank account and other things, so the personal verification is done. Now I can verify his land ownership through an API. So the land is verified, the personal verified, land verified. Now I want to know what is happening in that land. So that's what this whole digital satellite imaging is helping. That okay, the plants that are growing that in that 1 acre, it's a paddy field, or it's a wheat, or it's a maize, or a kind of a sugarcane plant, and there are models to kind of really ascertain the yield of crop, right? I mean, in that 1 acre, how much did this farmer kind of got to? So there are things which were not possible at all today is becoming a possibility. And this can be right. I mean, the mobile usage of farmers are also kind of increasing, so this can also, beyond lender, can also help the farmer at his level to kind of really know the data about his own land, right? And there are ways in a remote way to kind of test his soil fertility, and then to kind of recommend his land is suitable for what crop. And then there are remote ways to kind of really understand the water shortage, the pest attack. There are lots of things, right? I mean, you can actually monitor your 1 acre, 2 acre in a digital way. Today, the cost is slightly high. Government is aware about that, and there are efforts to kind of really send our own constellation of satellites, kind of for the major use of agriculture itself. And also we can track the weather, lots of climate risk, right? I mean, whether it is a drought prone, flood prone, cyclone prone districts, or a geography. And this is also helping the insurance industry, because some of this risk can be underwritten by insurance. So one another piece of technology that in the last 2 3 years that I've become more comfortable and tracking, and has been very optimistically looking forward, is the whole the land usage, and its digitization efforts, the ownership details, everything around that, and then the satellite images processing capability, so that it helps you to kind of really underwrite the customer better, and also help the farmer to kind of really take a lot of decisions. So I think out of many other things, I think these two things I want to call out.